Good afternoon, it's Kinninigan. Sometimes I don't plan waking up finding conspiracies, but they just fall in my lap. I think one of the reasons is I'm so in tune with ancient knowledge, the occult, Luciferian symbolism, names, the meaning of names and words, and I saw this. I was watching a documentary on Saturday night about Caligula, of all people, because I told people I was working on a video I'm doing about Rome. Okay? And something jumped out at me because I have also been following the P. Diddy case. And I found something very suspect here. And I don't care what anyone says. Now, first of all, I'm going to say some things. I already had some red flags with this case. Yeah, please share, like, subscribe. I actually need cigarettes, so any donations would help. I'd like to go out and actually take a walk today. It's nice. And um, so please, if you could support the channel, I would appreciate it. I made a video earlier. I woke up a little grouchy today about something else, but I didn't have my right microphone plugged in because I was using OBS the other night, and thank God it didn't record the audio correctly, and I deleted that video. Probably better. I wake up grouchy sometimes and I bitch about things. It's probably better that I don't. That's fine. You don't want me. You don't want me to quit smoking right now. I will get kicked off YouTube because I'm starting to lose my patience over this shit. First of all, let's just go here. First of all, one of my favorite movies growing up in the '90s was Austin Powers. I had completely forgotten about this scene, and now a lot of people are talking about it. This is really important because Beyonce was in this movie. Beyonce, first of all, she in it. Well, yeah, but there's a scene. Doctor Evil goes to prison, and he gets released from prison. And during this scene here is when Austin Powers pulls his pants down, and Doctor Evil has E. Diddy tattooed on his ass. So that means that this was a running joke in Hollywood since then. This clip has been going around. Yeah, Diddy on Doctor Evil, Austin Powers. Yeah, you can just look it up on YouTube. Diddy, Austin Powers. Um, he has E. Diddy tattooed on his ass. Now, one of the lead prosecutors in this case is James Comey's daughter, who I don't trust. What is she even still doing working at the DOJ? I don't know. I'm willing to bet she's an Eastern Star. You know what that is? That's someone that comes from a Masonic family. Because there's probably no doubt that James Comey himself is a occultic piece of shit. Yeah, he put that stuff out with the seashells to divert attention away from things. Obviously, whatever. This is why we don't have to worry about them ushering in the Antichrist, because the Freemasons are too busy playing fucking games in court, running YouTube channels, hanging out at Epstein Island, planning things like January 6th, gaslighting a bunch of patriots with the fucking Q movement. Yeah, I'm talking to you, David X22 Report. Amazingly, Cash Patel spent a lot of he's been on David X22 Report's podcast quite a few times. Interesting. Um, so they haven't found their 72 syllable lost word of God yet, and I noticed something else. Now, the lead defendant in this case, the one that P Diddy supposedly dated and sex trafficked and raped multiple times and beat up in a hotel, her name is Cassie. And that's when it dawned on me. Holy shit. There's a connection to ancient Rome here. Yeah, do you want to know what the connection is? There were two high-profile assassinations in Rome. The first one was Augustus Caesar, infamously when he was stabbed by the Senate, when he basically became a tyrant. Et brute, that's where we get that. Then there was another assassination in Rome, not too long after that, because the Roman emperors, you had Augustus, let's see, yeah, Julius Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, And then, yeah, it was Claudius, who didn't live that long. And then you had Caligula. Most of them were murdered. For Not going to get into Roman history is screwed up. I'm telling you right now. And you want to talk about debauchery and pagan? Be glad we're not living in ancient Rome. That's what I'm telling you. Anyway, Caligula was also publicly assassinated for being a quote unquote tyrant of all things. Interestingly, though, the person who led both those revolts against the Caesar, the assassination attempts, were Romans by the name of Cassius. That was a common Roman name, but their names were Cassius, Cassius. It was Gaius Cassius Longinus who engineered the assassination plot of Julius Caesar. It wasn't, it was Julius Caesar. Um, and then the one against Caligula was also named Cassius. And now, the lead defendant in the P. Diddy sex trafficking, the shit that's coming out about the. Look, I've already known about what was going on in the hip hop industry with hip hop artists being quote unquote turned out when they signed on the record labels. They were being gang raped in record studios, mainly led by people like P. Diddy. This was the whole death of gangster rap in the 90s and what we have with this present day Luciferian hip hop, which is also why hip hop has a lot of gay infused and transgender themes in it now. Social engineering at its finest. However, Cassie sounds a lot like Cassius. And this is supposedly the defendant who's supposed to bring down the Hollywood music industry empire. Do you see the connection here? I don't think this is a coincidence. And quite honestly, I'm not expecting anything of importance to come from this case. Um, this just looks like, to me, more games that are being played in a courtroom. Like I'm supposed to take any trial that comes out in New York serious. Look how fucking corrupt those judges are in New York. Please. Um, there's other things. This is a YouTube channel I follow. Her name is Rotten Mango. And she's been in the courthouse every day watching the P. Diddy trial. So I'm getting first-hand accounts of what's going on in the courtroom. There's already a lot of drama going on with that about who's being allowed in the courtroom and who isn't. And they won't even let Cassius's boyfriend in there because he sent a text message telling P. Diddy he's going to beat the fucking shit out of him. Good. I hope he does. Um, so they didn't want him in there. Whatever. But I noticed instantly that there was a connection between the names of Cassius, who was behind the assassination plot of two Roman emperors, and her name being Cassie. I don't think it's a coincidence. When P. Diddy was arrested, there was a video, there was a picture going around on the internet. I think one of my subs actually re-emailed it to me, but I lost the email. It's not important. But on the iron gates to his mansion, he had a symbol on his iron gate that was the symbol used by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is sex magic, Thelema. Jay-Z, P. Diddy's good friend Jay-Z, friend of Beyonce, used to walk around with his Aleister Crowley Do As Thy Wilt shirt on. What nobody is touching about this case, including the prosecuting witch herself, talking about Comey's daughter. I'm willing to bet the judge in this case is in a secret society. Now, I can go into more occultic shit with the court itself. Do you know why the judge wears the black robe of Saturn? Do you want to know why you have 12 jurors? They're symbolic of the signs of the zodiac. There should actually be 13 jurors in a courtroom now because Ophiuchus, the serpent holder, came into zodiacal rotation December 21st, 2012. Yeah, I'll rip a fucking courtroom apart with my occult knowledge. Yeah, see the judge flip out on that one. When I tell him you ain't got the right amount of jurors there. Yeah, they don't. By the way, they don't cure. They don't. I don't get called for jury duty anymore. There was a video years ago on my YouTube channel. I got summoned for jury duty, and I responded online. They answered back to me within less than a half an hour and said I was excused. And what did I do? I wrote on the jury duty response that I am Kinninigan and I run a YouTube channel exposing occultism, secret societies, and reptilians. They excused me from jury duty. I've never been summoned since, and they can kiss my ass. Think I'm going to go in a court? Just the other bullshit that's going on in this courtroom too. Just firsthand knowledge. I'm not talking about the Roman connection or the occult shit going on in this trial, or the fact that Diddy was talked about in Austin Powers years ago. Is they're supposedly cranking up the air condition in this courtroom to freeze the jurors and make them tired and just other stupid Mickey Mouse bullshit. See, if I'm in that courtroom, I'm going to say something, especially if you're only paying me $8 a day. I can't afford to go to fucking court for $8 a day. Specifically, when cigarettes in New York are what, $20 a fucking pack? They better be giving me cigarette breaks. Uh, One dude got excused from jury duty on his trial because he told the judge he was a hardcore marijuana smoker, and if he doesn't smoke marijuana, he gets agitated. They excused him from jury duty. God bless him. I'd have told him the same fucking thing. Yeah, let me sit in the courtroom talking about women getting raped and all this shit for $8 a day while I'm feeding for cigarettes and weed. It's not going to go nice. I'll walk right the fuck out of that courtroom. Like, what are you going to do? And as I'm walking out of the courtroom, I'll probably spit right in P. Diddy's face and call him all right. I'm not scared of him. People like that I have no respect for. He's going to burn in hell. So is everyone else covering for him. And basically, but everything I learned about the hip hop industry, to get back to that, came out from a guy named Professor Griff years ago. There's already been whistleblowers. And he was already talking about all this stuff, about all the homosexuality, the transgenders in the hip hop industry. Nothing new under the sun. This is why I said one of the reasons why they won't let the P. Diddy tapes out is because you're going to find out that half of those movie stars that were there, they're packing schlongs down there. You're going to see videos of like, who's humping who here? Yeah, whatever. If that's what they're into, they're grown ass adults. They can do whatever they want in Hollywood, but whatever. Shit that they were doing at parties though was bad. And I'm telling you that as an ex-rave DJ. We didn't hang around fucking degenerates like this when I was a rave DJ. Um. So anyway, I noticed this connection between Cassius and Cassie. And both of them, well, in Rome, yeah, Cassius just so happened to be the name of both times for Caligula and Julius Caesar, who engineered their assassination plots. And now we got a witness that's supposedly taking down P. Diddy with almost the same name. Do you believe in coincidences, or that this is just me overthinking things? I don't think. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I just want to say that because I mean that's gonna have to be another video. I could spend 4 hours just telling you about some of the debauchery they used to engage in Rome. Oh my God! And Caligula had statues in the Roman court. You ever hear of the hermaphrodite statue, the infamous one that he had in his gardens? From behind, it looks like a female woman. Then when you get around to the front of the statue, it's a dude with a schlong. Yeah, talk about pagan Rome. It goes right back to that. Even more sick shit. Then you got Emperor Tiberius and his boys. That's all I'm going to say. His group of boys that he used to have with him that he took to the baths. I learned about all this shit in BBC documentaries of all things. Tell you what, if you want to learn about ancient paganism, that's one good thing the BBC is good at. I don't know what it is with you English people. God bless them. You're really good at covering paganism. It's in your blood. I'll just give you that. Yeah, there's just been a few documentaries I've watched on them. Because I kind of want to do an expose. And I talked about Nero's Golden Palace and the possible Alpha Draconian reptilians that were found on the palace walls. I had to watch a whole bunch of documentaries. This is what I do when I'm not making videos. I'm actually doing research. I may spend 2 hours looking for a 10-second clip in a documentary just to show you something I'm talking about, and I think I found it. There seems to be some things on the wall that are here in modern times that look like they were covered over in Nero's Golden Palace. Nero didn't have a very long emperorship either. His was short, so was Caligula's. Um, but I will say this. Regardless of what you think or what you might not think of Nero and Rome burning, Nero, one, he wasn't in Rome when Rome burned down. Two, Nero didn't get blamed for burning down Rome. He blamed the Christians. And that blaming of the Christians is the reason why the Basilica of St. Peter stands where it is today. Because when Peter went to Rome to defend the Christians, saying, "We didn't burn down your city," they killed him on the spot right there. Right where that obelisk stands in St. Peter's Square is where Peter was killed by the Romans for trying to defend the Christians. And all that shit you've heard about. Roman emperors throwing Christians to the lions, crucifying them, burning them on stakes. All that's true. Um, the basically Nero was trying to say it was revenge from God, the Christians' gods, for what they did to Christ, and the Romans obviously being the ones who actually crucified him. So they blamed it on God. Just like if something goes wrong in the government today, they're going to blame it on MAGA. Same soup, different bowl. There's nothing new under the sun with these. I don't, people. That's all I'm going to say for now. Nothing new under the sun. They're always blaming someone else. They're always throwing symbolism in your face and then act like you're crazy when you call it out. But I don't think this is a coincidence. What are the chances that I'm not saying bad things didn't happen to this woman. They did. There's videotape of her getting beat up in the hotel. But I find it really strange that Cassie sounds a lot like Cassius, and Cassius was involved here. Cassius. Oh no. Oops. Um, Caligula. That was Cassius Sharia. He was the Roman soldier who of the Croatian Guard. Yeah, who started the assassination against Caligula. Same name. I don't think that's a coincidence. This is why I take Roman history with a grain of salt. A lot of it's symbolic. You notice that Cassius Sharia, the first letters are CC 33. These are metaphorical stories that they tell from Rome, and they should be taken with a grain of salt. Very metaphorical. The only way and Roman history was written differently from time to time, depending on whoever was in power at the time. Just like the Biden administration would say bad shit about Trump, then Trump comes into power and says bad shit about Biden. The same thing happened in Rome. Nothing but a bunch of fucking gossiping, mishistory. We don't actually know the true history. It was subjective. His story, that's where the, history comes. Yeah. But there's a link online to the Annals of Rome written by Tacticus, but even his account is supposedly biased. It's friggin' long, too. The Annals of Rome. I know where the link to it is, though, if I ever wanted to read it. Unless they've made an audiobook, and I'm not reading that. So anyway, yeah, that there is a Roman connection with the P. Diddy case. P. Diddy was in Austin Powers, right on Dr. Evil's ass. E. Diddy. E, which rhymes with P, obviously. What else could be symbolic of the letter E? A, B, C, D, E. It's the fifth letter of the alphabet. So I've already had suspicions not really suspicions. Professor Griff is already talking about it. Um, that there's a Luciferian connection going on in the hip hop industry with a lot of black people who have sold out their own people to be the equivalent of black magicians. You know, a lot of your black politicians are Prince Hall Freemason. Those that aren't Masons are now you can be a Mason and you can be a sex magician. So there are just different forms of magic. You have the Thelema, obviously taught by Aleister Crowley, which is spermognosis. And Aleister Crowley basically taught the more profane things you do, the consumption of human excrement, urine, blood, engaging in debaucherous acts with men, women, children, animals, doesn't matter. The closer it brings you to your pagan gods or your reptilian gods, and further you are from the real God. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of and basically, I'll tell you this in a nutshell. Even though Rome, I believe, is still in power, that's Rome in the Greenland theory. Basically, Rome blames their downfall on Christians. They say ever since the Jews and the Pharisees made us crucify that guy who said he was the son of Jesus, we kind of went downhill from there. You know, Rome burnt down. We had a emperor after emperor being assassinated. Roman civilization really went down the toilet. We weren't the major imperial army that we were at one time under Augustus. They blame it on Christians. So what do? They hijack Christianity, put Vatican right over the spot where they assassinated Saint Peter. Well, he wasn't Saint Peter at the time; he was Peter. But that's a little piece of Catholic history if you did not know it. That's where St. Peter's Square is, where the Pope was inaugurated yesterday. Secondly, I didn't do a video on the Pope yesterday. I thought it was just being bad taste. He got inaugurated yesterday. So far, the Pope has actually said some good things. He's got a lot of non-Catholics wound up. Like we really care about non-Catholics being wound up, please. Because he said that marriage should be between a man and a woman, and the unborn and the elderly are both deserving of life. No abortion, no euthanasia. It's pretty bad for human civilization when a statement like that is considered quote unquote controversial. This isn't pagan Rome. This isn't Babylon anymore. People need to grow up in this country. And two, before I get too angry about it, I'm going to go through nicotine withdrawal soon. No, 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 no. Please. Any donations would help. Um, Watching all these people in secret societies and occultists put these fucking shows on anymore. I'm getting a little sick of it. So, anyway, I got some ideas for videos. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's still a chance I could live stream tonight. So, you want to buy me some smokes? Yeah. And if I do live stream, I usually live stream. I usually like doing it when it gets dark. Why is that? Because of the lighting where I have my live stream set up. That's all. If I start streaming while it's light outside, then it turns dark. I gotta mess with the lighting while I'm streaming. I'll try to look when the sun down go. If I was stream, you know what? If I was going to stream tonight, it'd probably be around 8 p.m. And we'll talk more about Rome. I'll tell you about some real debauchery. How does that sound? Oh, you think Epstein Island's bad? Let me tell you about what happened on the island of Capri with Tiberius and his quote unquote pleasure palace. Or Caligula and his dinner parties. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're going to need some holy water for this one. Oh, well. Just be glad you're not living in pagan Rome. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, any questions or comments, leave them below. If you could support the channel, I'd appreciate it. I have Cash App, Vemno, Stripe, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App. Sign up to Patreon, or I also have merch for sale. So, anyway, take care and God bless.